If you have any intention of keeping your chickens as safe as possible, then you should avoid free-ranging them at all costs, and this is exactly why that's the case. So let's start off with a very obvious one. If you have any intention of keeping your chickens safe, keeping them in the yard is going to prevent a lot of different types of predator attacks. For instance, yesterday morning, my dog escaped the front door while one of my chickens was out there, and she kind of attacked the chicken. The chicken's fine, by the way. Because it was like right there, I was able to stop the attack pretty much immediately. But there's now a massive pile of feathers, so whenever I walk out of the door, I'm like, oh, did a chicken die? Then I'm like, oh, that's my puppy's fault. But either way, though, something more general, like a coyote or a fox, can easily get to them when they're outside of the yard. And even if they're inside of the yard, there's still a pretty decent chance, like something like a hawk, obviously, could get to them, or something can jump this fence. But I think it's a lot more common for your chickens to just get snatched up while they're outside of the yard, rather than when they're inside of the yard, because it's a little bit more tricky for something like a hawk or a coyote. Something like a fox or a coyote to get into here and take your chickens away. Now, obviously, they still do that. I mean, we used to have a huge problem with the bobcat last year when this right here was just normal 4-foot tall chicken fence. All that bobcat had to do was literally just jump over this fence and come right in, take any chicken he wants, and leave. It was like the easiest thing that he could exploit possible. But now, thankfully, that's been patched up a little bit. I've noticed that there's been no attacks on ground, at least. We're going to keep it that way, hopefully, since last September, when we fixed up that issue. But there has been an increased number of hawk attacks because they're confined to this area, and something like a hawk can easily get to them. So obviously, that's one of the only downsides to keeping them in a yard. But if you keep them outside of a yard, there could be multiple other things trying to go for them. Now, obviously, a huge thing that people talk about is their chickens getting hit by cars. And obviously, chickens aren't the most intelligent specimens on this planet. I can name a couple animals that aren't really up there and don't really surpass my chickens in their intelligence. For instance, my puppy. But that's not saying that they're intelligent whatsoever. I mean, some of my chickens know to stay in the yard and know when the treats are coming out, but that's pretty much the limit of their intelligence. For the most part, your chickens just walk right out there onto the road, and a car could come over there going 20 over the speed limit and easily ram your chicken right off the road, and that'll be the end of the story for that chicken. Now, this hasn't personally happened to me, but unfortunately, I know someone who lives on the main road who has had that happen to multiple of their chickens. They free range them, which obviously, first of all, if you're free ranging your chickens and you live on a main road, that's not good, because a car could easily just ram itself right into a chicken, especially considering cars are frequently going like 60 miles per hour. But also, just in general, free ranging your chickens anywhere near a road that's even slightly busy, it's just kind of asking for your chickens to at some point get hit, because some people, although they'll slam on the brakes, and yes, that has happened to us before, we have had chickens cause people to slam on the brakes, some people aren't really going to notice a tiny chicken. Like, I mean, look at this chicken right here in the center of the coop. She's not the biggest. The camera makes it look like it's larger because of the angle. But that chicken is only like, I don't know, maybe 11 inches tall maximum. So if a car is just driving down the road, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to see your chicken there, and they're going to slam right into it without caring to hit the brakes whatsoever. And they're going to be like, what was that bump? And then just move on with their life. That's why we don't want our chickens out of their yard at all. I mean, you could easily pull this off if you, say, have a bunch of field in the back like that and have the front fenced off. But in general, if you really just want to avoid them getting onto the road, just keep them in a yard. Now, a lot of people will feel obligated to free range their chickens, obviously, because of just one big thing. They think that keeping their chickens in one space for their whole life is kind of cruel, which, I mean, to an extent, it's not really the greatest thing to be keeping them in the same space for the whole life. But I would like to introduce you to the mobile chicken coop, which is essentially a chicken coop that you can move with a tractor, ATV, or something along those lines. Now, obviously, if you live in a suburban setting, this wouldn't apply to you. And the maximum amount of land they could take up is just your front lawn or your back lawn or whatever. Now, as far as people like us who have a little bit more land to work with around here, this would be a perfect opportunity to allow your chickens to clear out the fields. Now, they've done a pretty good job around here. It's just that up here in the Northeast, we've just been getting so much rain lately that all the weeds have just been popping up like it's no one's business out here. But up there in the field, there's a lot of untapped stuff up there for the chickens to get into. And you know what? I might just move them up there shortly, see what they do. In a fenced-in environment, obviously, and it's good to just frequently move them around to get them used to new spaces, and it'll help them out a little bit. But if you'd like to know a little bit more about this chicken coop, then I'd recommend clicking this video here in the center of the screen as it tells you just that. Be sure to click the like and subscribe button as we're trying to reach 4K before my birthday, which is next week. It will be an amazing birthday present. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Goodbye.